The rain lashed down, mirroring the tempest brewing inside me. Detective Ray Maxwell, a man whose scorn for me was legendary, was pinned beneath a twisted girder, his face a mask of pain and fear. Just hours ago, he'd spat accusations, fueled by the rumors that always seemed to trail me. Whispers of connections to the city's underbelly. Whispers I'd always denied. He'd made it clear he thought I was scum, a stain on the city he swore to protect. Now his fate rested in my hands. A piece of the collapsed building threatened to crush him completely. The fire was closing in, painting the scene in hellish hues. My crew, hardened men who had seen it all, looked at me, their faces etched with doubt. They knew Ray Maxwell. They knew what he thought of us. "Leave him, Marco," Big Tony growled, his voice barely audible over the roar of the flames. "He'd do the same to you." My heart hammered against my ribs. It would be so easy to walk away, to disappear into the storm and let justice, a bitter, cruel kind of justice, take its course. Years of resentment bubbled up, the sting of every sneer, every accusation, every time he'd made my life a living hell. But then, I saw his eyes, fear. Yes, but also something else. A flicker of desperate hope, like a dying ember in the inferno, and in that moment something shifted within me. The hate, the anger, it all seemed to shrink, dwarfed by the sheer, terrifying fragility of life. "Get to work," I roared, my voice cutting through the noise. "We're getting him out of here." We worked like demons possessed, a symphony of muscle and grit against the backdrop of destruction. The heat was unbearable. The air thick with smoke. Every second felt like an eternity. Finally, after what seemed like a lifetime, we managed to lift the girder, just enough for Ray to be dragged free. We got him to safety, watching as paramedics swarmed him. He was alive. He was gonna be okay. I turned to leave, wanting nothing more than to disappear. "Marco," his voice hoarse and weak, stopped me in my tracks. He was on a stretcher, his face pale, but his eyes were locked on mine. "Wait." I approached him cautiously, bracing myself for, I didn't know what more accusations, a begrudging thank you. I owe you my life," he croaked, his voice thick with emotion. "I was wrong about you, so wrong." He looked at me, his eyes pleading. "I've been a fool, Marco. I need your forgiveness." The request hung in the air, heavy and unexpected. Forgiveness. The word felt alien on my tongue. Years of bitterness had built a wall around my heart, and suddenly he was asking me to tear it down. I looked at him, at the man who had hated me with such fervor, now humbled and vulnerable, and I saw not the enemy I had built him up to be, but a flawed human being capable of both cruelty and remorse. "It's okay, Ray," I said, the words coming out more easily than I thought they would. "Just get better." I left him there. As the rain began to ease and a sliver of dawn peeked through the clouds, the city, scarred and battered, was slowly waking up. And in my heart, something was waking up too. A sense of peace, of release. Forgiveness wasn't about him. It was about me, about freeing myself from the chains of resentment that had bound me for so long. Moral of the story, holding on anger and resentment only weighs you down. Forgiveness, even for those who have wronged you deeply, isn't about condoning their actions, but about liberating yourself from the burden of bitterness and choosing compassion instead. It's about recognizing the shared humanity we all possess, even in our darkest moments. Sometimes, the greatest victories are not won on the battlefield, but in the quiet act of choosing forgiveness.